tonnage services account. The credit of a tonnage TTR account is at least 20% of the book profit, the same as the previous year. Illustration of the reserve including excess of transfer of any using acquiring new ship in next 8 years of business purpose. Until then, the use of the business purpose other than the distribution of dividend. The locking period of ship is so acquired shall not be sold for 3 years or the end of the previous year. Failure to utilize the reserves for using purpose. Taxable income is called to previous shipping income reserves unutilized or how much to utilize by total reserves created. In case of shortfall in amount of credit over TTR, taxable income to relevant shipping income to shortfall of credit in the reserve by minus minimum reserve to be audited. Relevant shipping income is going to profit from the core activity plus indication activities. If the profit from indication activity is greater than 2.25 turnover of the core activities, ignore such exceptions. Account and audits. Maintain a separate account with respect to shipping business or furnish CA report on before the specified date. Amalgamation section 115 VA ICA MCQ. In the case of amalgamation of two tonnage taxation companies, provision of tonnage shipping shall apply to the amalgamation company for that period as in the option which is largest unexpired period continues to be forced. Longest unexpired period continues to be forced. Section 178 companies under liquidation. Liquidator shall within 30 days of appointment and give notice of appointment of EO. Within 3 months on the receipt of this notice, EO shall, after making an inquiry, notify the liquidator of the amount the option to EO which is sufficient for providing a tax due. Liquidator shall not be part of any assets in hand. Circumstances shall not part of any asset unless before notifying under section 2 leave the PCCC, UCCC and PCNC after being notified set aside any amount LC approved. Limitation liquidator may part in the assets and part of the purpose of paying tax payable to the company, payment of secure creditors, meeting expenses, windowed up which option of PCC, PCCC, PCC and so. Okay, consider conversion of liquidator under 1 to 3 personal liability to pay tax a company. IBC to override the provision, no other new law to override. Section 75, 179 liability directors to of the private company. In the case of tax due and the private company director such shall be jointly severally liable for the tax due unless the proven non-recovery cannot attract on the gross negligence with respect of the personal liability can be imposed by the AO in direction even with the adjustment of the adjudication of the report. Due tax and the due tax in the case of interest rates, penalties and other sums payable. Similar section 167 and 188 partners shall be liable to case of LLP and firms respectively. Alternate minimum tax applicable to person other than company. Not applicable in adjustment income is less than 20 lakhs. And the tax rate 18.5% adjustment total income, 9% in the unit located in IFSC, 15% case of cooperative society. Adjustment total income increased by reducing reduction of chapter 6C part C expected by 80 section 80p. Deduction claim 10AA, deduction claim of 35D, minus depreciation of 32 and no deduction 35D. C but after the specified date started the adjustment total income of AMT in the provision. Net apply AMT is applicable not applicable in the case of person saying tax under the 115 BAC, 115 BAD, 115 BAV. Tax rate the AMT paid minus regular income as per the previous year carry forward for 15 assessment year. Next then set off will be regular tax minus AMT payable. The foreign tax credit and the foreign tax credit allowed the AMT payable that is greater than FTC admissible against a regular tax. Such excess will be ignored for the purpose of AMT credit. Illustration rate or non-applicability. Residential non-corporate society opting for section 115 BAD, section 115 BA, SASAC has opted 115 BAC1, specified fund section 1040D, non-applicability. They are Special Economic Zone. Section 10A and India and tax holiday for newly established unit in SEZ. Eligibility unit of SEZ is manufactured that provides service and begins operating before 1/4/21. Deduction. Years and deduction of 10 years. First 5 consecutive years are 100% of profit on the export. Further 5 consecutive years, 50% of profit derived from export. Next 5 consecutive amount credited to SEZ reinvestment reserve not greater than 50% of export profit in such a way. All those deductions can be allowed as a C for the doesn't furnish return of income and other that as per 139. Export profit total profit is equal to A by B. Export profit over is consideration to the export received in India and convertible foreign currency. Exclude freight telecom charges with insurance with respect to delivery outside India for forex expenses. B total turnover. Profit of SEC is not to be included ancillary profits such as sale of imported treatment of brought forward losses QB33. Option 1, you agrees as it belongs to Chapter 6A and has a effect and therefore not being given. Option 2, as per CBT circular, considers Chapter 6A is also applicable by determining the profit or purpose of Section 10A. If student may choose alternative mention as the same answer. Using the SEZ RR account, acquiring Bantam machinery which is put into use for 3 years. After the end of 3 years, the reserves are created until such acquisition use of the business purpose except dividend is created of the assets outside India and utilized for 3 years and misuse of dividend income. Additional condition, unit is not formed by splitting of the reconstruction existing business, not formed of transferring using Bantam machinery same as 105 BAB. Sale procedure brought into India and converted to foreign within 6 months from the end of the previous year, which is further period of completing the authority of RBI. The sales procedure the deemed to be credited in India, whereas credited to separate account maintained by the books of India outside India approved by RBI. Pre-reconstruction amalgamation resulting of a company to claim reduction at any loss. A loss is equal to 72, 74 has been carried forward loss. Assessment of partnership for residential as a depending upon whether the control of control and management is affairs and excise in India. It does not depend on the residential status of the partner. Tax rate 30% surcharge and 30% such as 12% if the income excess 1 crore as 4%. Section 10 to A, share of partner income forms and expert in the hands of partner. Remuneration treatment allowed in the deduction in the hands of the firm subject to 40B in tax on the BGP income in the hands of partner allowed exempted allowed to Section 28. Interest firms can claim reduction as per the interest up to maximum 12%. Assessment of the firm in the case change in assessment, change in constitution assessment does not made in the firm so constituted at the time of making assessment. Succession separate assessment will be made in the proceeding of successor and discontinuing assessment shall be made if so the discontinuing takes place. And assessment of cooperative society general provision entrance fees received by the cooperative society or members taxable under PGP income. As a cooperative society as a separate assessment entity, members of cooperative society to home building or part therefore allotted under the house building scheme of the society, such members shall be deemed owner of that building and part of that section 22(3). Section 80P reduction respect of cooperative society. Following some shall be directed under the GTE of the cooperative society. After activities of cooperative income reduction. In the case of cooperative society engaged in banking, business and providing credit facilities to members and cottage industry, KVIP, marketing, agriculture product of members, and purchase of agriculture, implement livestock and supply of members and proceeding without the aid of power and agriculture production and collection of disposal of labours in the members, fishing and allied activity, the whole of VGVP amount. In the case of primary opting secure society engaged in the supply of milk, oil, seed, fruits and vegetable growth members, federal cooperative and government, local authority, government to whole VGVP amount. Activities other than the above of those activities, 1 lakh on the consumer of cooperative society, 50,000 others. Interest and dividend from the investment which other company or society, letting cow downs and warehouse holds of income, interest on the security of income house property in 22, gross income is less than 20,000. Unapplicable, the ATP shall be on the cooperative banks other than primary agriculture credit society and the primary cooperative agriculture credit banks. Example of Amul and Lidar Park. Concession tax rate 115BAD, Section 115BE, concession tax rate of cooperative society. Section 115BA applies to all the resident cooperative society other than provision as per 115BA. 115BAB applies to all the resident cooperative engaged in manufacturing generation of electricity other provision as per Section 115BAB. Any cooperative society which opts for such a concessional tax rate cannot claim reduction under ATP. Moreover, Section M reduction is not allowed. Section 111JA and Section LLA is allowed. Okay. IT Venkatesha premises the doctrine of mutuality is based on the common law principle that person cannot be profit from himself according to the transfer of charges, non-occupancy charges and common amenity fund charges and other charges received by the cooperative society from its members are exempted owing the application of doctrine of mutuality. Sithcom Housing Society after whether transfer fees will be the incoming and outgoing member exempted. As per the bylaw of society, charging of transfer fee has no element of trading and commercial amount paid as it exclusively use the benefit of the members, therefore is not liable to tax. Default tax regime section 115 BAC applies to individual HUF, EOP, GOA, artificial intelligence person tax slab. Up to 3 lakh 03 to 6 lakh 5%, 6 lakh to 9 lakh 15%, 15 9 lakh 20 15%, 10 15 and 20 or 30. 10 5 10 15 20 30. So 3 to 6, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 15 and 15 to above. Onward for BAC. Exemption or deduction disallowed. Leave travel allowance not allowed. HRA not allowed. Daily allowance of MLA MP not allowed. Minor change. Exemption or deduction disallowed. Deduction and disallowed. Tax holiday tax not allowed. Allowance of profession tax not allowed. Interest on loan waiver not allowed. 24 not allowed. Additional depreciation not allowed. 33 AB not allowed. 33 2 to 33 2A not allowed. Chapter 6A exempted 80 CCD2 and 80 CCD H and 80 JJG is allowed, except other than is not allowed. And 35 AD and 35 CC not allowed. And set off and carry forward. Set off and carry forward loss of unabsorbed depreciation attribute to such a reduction loss after the head of house property total lapses. Option out of the schemes having income under BGP. Option out of this before due date of return income. Once opted out each apply to subsequent income from other than PGP income exercising in return of income. With travel once assessee opt out, he can only opt once. Therefore, he shall never be eligible to opt out. AMT not applicable assessee of account of BEC. Assessment of achievement. Members of achievers in the 4 degree relationship. When the family had karta and co-partition. Co-partitioners acquires an interest in the family joint property of the both. Historically, one male descendant has this co-partitioners. Section since 2005, daughters also be a co-partitioners status. Only co-partitioners has a right to demand a partition of achieved property. Other female members like wives or daughter-in-laws other on co-partitioners cannot be demand the achieved partitioners. HUF can be formed even with a single male and female co-partner. The Act does not mandate to minimum number of male members and a co-partner recognized as HUF and nationality. Single male as a female partition of achieve the India income tax does not recognize partial partition of achieve. It is only recognized total partition. In the case of partition, every member jointly is liable of tax such as assessment or assessment income of achieve and portion in the share of house property and allotted to name and partition. Consider the following points while computing the allotted income. Income from the transfer of property with the members achieve for the inadequate consideration club in the hands of transfer of members. Section 64 gift provision of non Section 10 to exempt any income received by the members of the family income, where the members earns fees or remuneration from the company and firm respective capacity. HUF income is taxable under HUF. HUF can be a partner in a firm where Karta act as a partner respective capacity. Remuneration is paid as HUF to Karta's allowable expenses paid in the agreement, where the any member of HUF care about the business on a personal capacity. Income from such business would be constitute a personal income. CIT Chandradas and Kandas and Sons. Actually possessed by the interest-free loan of the members and are starting a business on the own. As a business is taxable and the clients are held, and the investment plays a minor role in the primary physical efforts. A skill is a member of the own and the tax and individual hands. Tax rates on individuals. Assessment of AOB, BOI, assessment. Assessment order of AOB, BOI, HUF, assessment of AOB, BOI, computation total income, circumstances, taxability of AOB. If an individual shares any members not known, MMR, the tax rate of the members with a higher rate, example, foreign company has a higher tax rate. If the individual has a known total income of any member excludes shares of AOB, BOI, MMR, any member is taxable under the greater than MMR. Quotation is the income attribute to members and higher rate other than MMR. A share is no member of a term loan and is greater than year. As per the 115 BAC, slab rate applicable to individual under the normal tax rates. The taxability of share of income under the heads of members. AOP, BOI tax paid treatment of members as a total income. MMR's higher rate will not be included in total income. Regular rates of individual to applicable to individual. And compute the G64/7 and compute remit debit and 110. Not paid tax include total income or tax on regular rates. A relevant question law where the land inherited by three brothers or compulsory acquisition common would be resultant of capital gains assessed in the status of AOP and individual status. That's a tax. Individual heads and no reason to be assessed in the hands of AOP. Madras Gurukam Club Assessee Club provides facility like gym with members earn interest from the FD which is made the investment of surplus fund as principal maturity does not apply hence taxable. Virtual rates of tax with respect to specific income assets. A tax for profit from the life insurance respect to 12%. Income is not subject to the tax and VAT. Profit of non-insurance company is taxable under profit of the books of accounts like Insurance Act. Just the expense is not allowed under 30 to 43B. Add back a provision of indemnity in the value of asset and debited to profit and loss and add block. Gain, loss at realization of investment and less in knowledge reserves as unexpected risk and allow reduction. Taxable profit. Section 115 BAV and applicable to resident individual who is an employee of Indian company engaged in specific knowledge-based industry sectors. Nature of income and tax service. Dividend of the gross total energy of Indian company issued by the EGOSP purchase of such an individual foreign currency 10%. Long-term capital gain share of the GDR 20%. The calculation of gross total income in the provision. The gross total income consists of the only dividend and income mentioned above. No reduction is allowed in the gross total income above income. Reduction above the GTA minus low income and provide an indexation benefit provision of long-term capital gain GTR. Specific provision, specific knowledge based on the industry as per the IT software, IT service, or entertainment service, pharma industry, biotechnology industry, and notified. Section 105 BB, as a resident who is a party for the first and time in winter. Income royalty with respect of paid and development registered in India, tax rate 10% option SC. Additional point as a may after section 115 BB on respect of return of income and 139 wants opt cannot opt in. 15 years he opted out, he cannot be opted next 5 years. No reduction respect of the allowed. Such a royalty income shall be opted on matter in 115 BBG. Section 115 BBG income transferred to carbon credit tax 10%. No reduction of respect to carbon credit is a 1 unit means reduction of 1 ton of carbon emission which is violated by UN framework which can be traded in market. Only one way to the great work is to love what we do. Yes. Chapter assessment of trust and institution, political party, and other social entity. Section 1 on dietary purposes is relief for education, yoga, medical relief, preservation of environment, preservation movement, advancement of other objectable mental public utility. Provide that advancement of any of the objective general public utility shall be charitable purpose and involve charity in the nature of trade, commerce, and unless such activities undertaken course of actually carried out at commencement in the any other part of general publicity and aggregate receipt of such businesses less than 20% of total result. Yet such a receipt greater than 20% exemption 11 shall be denied and registered as the cancel. On a promotion of sports and games considered on the charitable purpose section 2 trust will be treated as a charitable even the objective was carrying on the activity of profit. Activity of rural reconstruction and upliftment masses of wattage industry to afford relief to poor and hence considered charitable activity. Preservation of environment and watershed for charitable activity. Charitable organization of principle of mutuality. When the industry state association of climate, both charitable institution as well as mutual organization, these activities are restriction to contribution from the participation of only members. It is not follow the preview of the provision section 212 owing a principle of mutuality. However, this is the organization dealing with the members and clients of charitable organization, however governed by the additional conditions separated by section 2. Exemption option to charitable jurisdiction. First scenario, first regime, second regime, 11 to first regime, section 1033A, university, education, institution, hospitals, and medical trusts, and other institutions, charitable purpose, religious purpose, and whole religious and charitable actions. Trust for charitable or religious purpose. Section 1023, first regime. Any income received on the person behalf. Section 23 activities and condition expansion. 23 CA 3 AB university other education institution wholly substantially financed by government. 3 CAB 3 AC hospital other medical institution wholly substantially financed by the government. And 1023 CA 3 AD university other education institution aggregate amount of received is less than 5 crores. 1023 C 3 AD hospitals other medical institution aggregate annual receipt less than 5 crores. Less than 5 crores. 1023 for charitable funds institution which is important for India and United States for trust and institution approved by the PNC Principal Commissioner. 1023C wholly for public religious purpose wholly for public religious charitable activities. 1023C other education institution may be approved by PNC other 1023C 6A other medical institution. Substantially finance means government grant of the institution that is greater than 50% of total receipt, including voluntary contribution during the previous relevant financial year. Previous year. Applicable, the PNCs enable the specific cases. A few cases, such as the case where the education institution has annual receipt less than 5 crores does not require approval. The limits of annual receipt of the quota taxpayers are not quota taxpayer. Section Section 11, income from the property of charitable religious purpose, CPR. As per the following, income shall not be included in the total income trust. 15% of income derived from the property held under the trust. Ad hoc education, note that the income derived from the property shall include voluntary contribution section 12, but not corpus donation. Moreover, no adjustment shall be made to the expenses amount applied. Income applied for the charitable religious corporation and trust of India fully exempted. Note that such application can be revenue and capital purposes. Voluntary contribution made in specific direction, but they do not shall form of the corpus of trust or corpus donation made by such a company. Investor section 111B. Illustration: calculate the taxable income of the actors. Gross received, the expenses of received, amount applicable purpose, voluntary donation, corpus donation solution. Gross received must election expenses, total taxable receipt, voluntary donation add pannu, total income less applied income minus less 15% of adopt reduction, that is 15 lakhs into then 15 lakhs. 15 lakhs, 12 lakhs plus 5 lakhs, other 15 percentage, it is 2 lakh 25,000. My taxable income 9 lakh 45,000. Explanation: when the amount could not be applied for the reason as it not received, assessee may out was second month prior due date of the 139 consider the amount is deemed applied. This amount can be applied actually applied in the case of in the year received the following year. Failure to failure to apply such amount about deemed income the following year, such amount shall not be deducted again such actual application. Where the amount could not be applied in the any other reason, assessee may after 2 months prior to second 139 consider such amount deemed applied. Actually applying such amount previous year immediately in the previous year in which such amount is derived. Failure to apply such amount when deemed income the previous year, such amount shall not be deducted against an actual application. Donation other institutional trust amount, donation of any other registration trust 80% of deemed application. However, the corpus donation trust is not treated as application. For the purpose of determining application amount, following section has been applied. 40A on A, 30% of disallowables assigned non-deduction or TDS. 40A3 and 3 cash payment excess of 10%, 10 lakhs. 10,000 determination. So 40A3 and 40A3 and explanation 3. The property or trust including temples, Gurudwara, church, any trust hours receive donation from the recipient renovation and it may opt to treat any contribution corpus donation and that is exempted from the condition that is when the donation should be utilized for the purpose of that may such amount should not be made not be donated to any other person. Amount in such corpus is separate identifiable and investment deposit moved section 11B. If the trust treats the corpus donation subsequently condition violation of deemed income. For the purpose of determining the amount applied, the amount application amount of corpus donation shall be considered applicable. Then the sum of the amount shall be considered back as application if the subsequent previous year amount of investment deposit back under section 11(5) out of the income previous year. Only such a deposit made in the 5 previous year in the applicable was application under the loan and borrowing not treated as application. Such amount shall be treated application of previous year in the loan borrowing as a repair from the income of previous year. Only if such a loan is repaid in the 5 years and the end of the previous year's application is being made loan. When any other income paid or any other registered trust, 80% of the amount shall be treated as applied. Excess my application shall not be allowed as a carry forward set of such as sum payable or the trust institution shall be considered as applied in the income of previous year in some actually applied by irrespective of the accounting other account. Prior to the amendment, accrued expenses and were considered applied but not country unable. Donation received by Hundi charitable box and subscribing contributing the Hundi for support of corpus trust fund but may not Venkateshwara temple Tirumala considered as a corpus donation. Capital gain case of transfer of capital and where any other short term capital gain capitalized and transfer such a trust wholly part of the consideration used for the purpose of another capital asset. Following capital gain be exempted. Net consideration use of capital gain whole amount of partly use whole amount fully exempted partly used cost of net use asset minus cost of transfer asset. Investment of the scale consideration FD will amount and investment in new asset where the asset is partially used to trust and only the part of exemption is capital gain. The asset is used 60% of the activities trust. How much capital gain is deemed to be applied in the trust? Cost of transfer as a 2 lakh 40,000, sale consideration 2 lakh 60,000, cost of new asset purchase 3 lakhs, gain is equal to 1 lakh 20,000. Okay, capital gain is capital gain was 3 lakh 20,000, 60,000. Okay, uh, actually accepted by 60% of 60,000. Asset use for 60% activity, so capital gain. Cost of transfer as a 2 lakh 40,000, say consideration 2 lakh 120,000, cost of new asset 3 lakh 1,000, capital gain whatever. Capital gain should be exempted 3 lakhs minus 2 lakh 40,000, 60,000 cash exempted 60%. No matter the 85% of income is not applied, deemed applied in the CRP in India about the previous year, such but the accommodation for the application in India, the income shall be not be included in the total income previous year provided. Such a trust furnish the total income of EO setting the purpose of the period not less than 5 years for the accommodation. Furnish such a statement last 2 months due date of 39 investment and deposit of amount in the mode of 11 for computation of 5 year excluding pre-year where amount shall not be applied due to the injection of code. Amount paid in other registered trust or the accommodation income not rated apply, and if not applied such an income trust is particularize each and every objective which accumulated in sort it enough to be seek permissible accumulation in overall objective of the trust. Bharat Krishna Samhita, Deputy IC 2008. Income accommodation on section 2 can be deemed income subsequent previous year. What is violation deemed to be violation? Apply to the previous purpose of CRP previous year in which applied. Ceases to remain invested in the 11 year pay previous year in the remain invested not applied to 5 years end of the 5 years paid in other registered trust previous year in which already paid. For change of the purpose of the income was control accumulated subsection 3 when the residue is accumulated beyond the control of trust. Amounts accumulated should not be utilized for purpose of accommodation. AO may, as an application of the trust, allow supply of such income under other CRP conform objective trust. Provided AO shall not allow application of such income by donation to other trusts, except in the case of associates trust has been dissolved. Section 11 shall apply in the respect of the income from the profit and gain of any business. Only if as a business is incidental or attention to objective trust, separate BOE and maintenance of maintenance aspect of the business. That's the execution trust, the any stationery shop and claim exemption and the net income of the stationery in the incidental to business provided maintain separate books. Seizures by the trust property consists of business income that is stationary outside school. The property held by trust consists of business undertaken held. If there is so trustee may claim that such income enjoys exemption under 11 of the case. AO may determine the income of income as per the provision of with respect to assessment, and where the income is determined greater than the income of BOE, such expenses shall be deemed to apply in the purpose of CRP. Forms and modes of investment and deposit money shall be investment and saving, creditors and security, capital gain, and small savings scheme. Deposit of any amount of the post office, savings and cash, scheduled bank and cooperative bank. Investment and UTI. Investment of security by capital gain, short term capital gain and state common. Investment debentures issued by the companies and corporation guaranteed by capital gains accommodation. Investment deposit in the public sector provide that in sector such public sector ceases to be PSU. Investment of shares of PSU other instrument. Themed in investment PSU are 3 years of the date of PSU ceases to be PSU till the end of the repayable PSU. Investment of deposit bonds issued by the Indian public company formed in the provided long-term finances not more than 5 years. Construction of residential properties in eligible for Section 36(1) and the urban infrastructure investment of immovable property, ramp, plant and machinery, even the tax of deposit in IDBI and other prescribed mode. Rule 17C other prescribed mode. Investment in mutual funds, transfer or deposit in public annual account in India, deposit authority concerned the housing communication deposit, developing cities, acquisition of equity shares in deposit, investment in registered stock exchange equity shares are promoted if in acquired membership rights of the RSE greater than 15% PSU held the stock exchange balance member, and investment made in the person equity of the bond at eventual open network of digital commerce, co-engage in payment of settlement. Acquiring equity shares of incubator, acquired accounting states of the National Skill Development Corporation, debt of instrument and infrastructure finance, stock or certificate sovereign gold bond scheme. Investment on the shares of private companies not a specific mode, but asset is acquired and any made in claim or accumulation applicable income, the depreciation shall not be allowed applicable. Registered trust institution shall not claim under section 10 except Section 10(1), 10(23), 10(23) EC, and 10(46) and 10(46)A provide a registered trust. Section 12A, 12AB shall become inoperative such trust as approved by Section 23A. Provide that the trust may apply in the registration operative. 12AA, 12AB provided that approval of 1023 and ceases to be effective. Registration trust cannot claim exception under 1023 and income from the mutual funds. Section 12. Income from the trust and institutional contribution. Following the income of trust shall be taxable in the head of the land or property held on the trust. Voluntary contribution on the corpus donation. Value of service may be available to trust and running the hospital, medical and education institution to specified 1 Section 12A, condition to application of the income. Section 11, 12. Application to PNC registration 12A1 and AC. Provision of Section 11 and 12 shall apply to application of PNC registration. Who shall seek registration by whom is made by a PC and form. Trust registration 12A, 12AA from 3 months from the 1st April 10A form. Trust registration 12AB and registration due to expire renewal 10AB at the less of 6 months. Trust provisional registration 12AB earlier the early 6 months the expiry of provision of registration within 6 months of commencement of activities. 12AB registration of inoperative due to solvency at least 6 months prior to the commencement of assessment year in which registration sought to operate 10AB. Undertaking modification objection within 30 days 10AB and any of the other activities of trust at one not commencement after 1 month prior to the commencement of application of registration. Provisional registration 10A. Have commencement and no income excluded from the total income of 1023 EC. Section 11, Section 12 by previous ending and before the date of such application. At any time after commencing such activities, after applying the end of the previous year 10 AB. PC shall show provisional registration under the detailed inquiries. It shall refuse registration on the ground and activity shall be commenced. Section 12A, 1AB maintenance of BOE and the audit effort. Under the total income with respect to the 11 and 12 greater than the basic settlement, maintain the board of BOE book and documents. Registered office and 10 years from the date of registration. Such accounts has been audited 44AB and an audit report and form 10B and 10BB issued therefore. Audit form of audit report 10B in case of the total income without exemption limited for 23A and exceed 5 crores and the trust to receive foreign contribution from previous year. Any trust applied the part of income outside India 10B. 10BB in other cases. Filing of return of income subsection 1 the trust we furnish the return of income 139(4)(e) the time limit of 139 time limit under section 139(1) 104 in the case of trust modified by 1023C return of fund and 43 10 139(4)(c). Section 12B procurement of the fresh registration. PNC applying 12A and AC applicant. Application under section 12A L1. Order of PNC writing, order of within the EOE application. Registration, order of written registration from the trust for 5 years, 3 months. Order of the within 3 months of EOE application. Subclass 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 item B activities commands. The public charitable trust call for documents information making inquiry about the necessary and satisfaction about continuous of activities and complaints of inquiry law. After satisfying grant registration 5 years, it does not satisfy rejected application from the cancelled registration 6 months. Class 6 item A activities of commercial provision registration or trust of 3 years and assessment year from the registration sort 1 month. Cancellation of registration. Registration or provisional registration is granted subsequently. The PNC is notified according to the specific violation of PNC. The PNC is received reference to the AO 143 and second such cases may be a risk assessment strategy. And PNC shall cause a document info and make an inquiry satisfy about the occurrence of specific violation. Pass order and cancelling registration after OHO and satisfy the violation takes place. Pass order refusal to cancel and about the occurrence of violations to a forward copy of registry voters. Such order has been passed in 6 months and in a quarter within the first time notice of inquiry issued by the PNC. For the purpose of substance of following means of specific violation, which in this income has been applied for. The purpose of which others objective of trust, private religious trust for the benefit of the public, benefit under the particular religious convention or caste. And trust as BGBP non-instrumental to attendance of objective, separate BOA maintained or any activities being carried out by the trust non-genuine, it's not genuine, it is not being carried out as per the conditions subject to other registration, or trust is not compliant in the requirement of other law. The application of section 12A AC is not complete and contains false and incorrect information. Defined to relation, relative purpose of second regime. Relative means spouse, brothers and sisters of individual spouse. Linear, ascendant, linear descendant of individual spouse and spouse of all the above person. And a linear ascendant and descendant of bros and sisters of the individual. Section 30 denial of exemption. Specified purpose, section 13.3. Author of the trust, foundation of trust, the person who has a substantial contribution greater than 50,000 in trust, where the author of achieve, member of achieve, the trustee has and trust members, priority author, founder, person, member, trustee members, any considered the above person as a subject interest. Note above list does not include employees and author, donors, and settler. It will only include the creditor. For the following income shall not be exempted under section 11 and section 12. And part of income from the property held with a private religious property which is not available for the benefit of public. Income from the charitable religious trust created the benefit of particular community in cases. However, in the cases rated by the benefit of yes, see, Supreme Court and ST backward cases or the women, children are not considered trust for benefit of particular religious or against. Not exempted for incomes are not exempted liability. Income which is applied for benefit of person that is not exempted. Consequent applying for the private agent. Such income is taxed under 115 BAB 30%, penalty and 271 A 100% benefit of one first violation, 2 another subsequent violation. Section 56 to second attract the hands of specific business and deposit in immersible mode, and the income of the trust shall not be deemed to be funds of investor in the modes other than 115 11B. In the shares of the company other than the public sector company shares and described in 11B, putting that nothing above shall as the forms of corpus of bonus shares are not of a trust institution. The debentures issued held by the trust institution, converting assets and held by 115 and the profit and gains of the business. Income on trust shall be deemed to be used for the benefits of a specific person. Such a income is lent to any person without adequate security interest if any deemed to be benefit of the building. If any land and building of the property has been available to use the person without adequate rent compensation, if any of the amount paid or the person's salary, allowance, excess or expenses, if the service has been available to the person adequate accommodation compensation, if the if the share security purchase on the person consideration adequate, if the person security sold for the person consideration adequate, if the some property trust is convert from to such a person. No, the clauses apply where the income values towards than 1,000. If the fund is invested in the concern such property and substantial interest. In the case of aggregate fund invested in the collection of specific person, a substantial interest is less than 5% concept in capital of 11 and 12 shall be with respect to the income out of salt investment. Exemption retained in the service and only is an acknowledged person was deemed to be substantial interest concern in the case of concern of the company, 20% voting power in the case of concern of the covered by sort of trust any electoral medical institution, hospital shall be denied in section 11A and 12 with respect to the amount of reason only in the provision of video medical facilities specified person. Section 12 value of the medical education service where the provided free of cost or a concession rate available to the trust and specific person deemed trust. Education 11.2 shall not be available. The statement of 11.2 furnished under the order of income furnished before the due date where the trust violates above condition. Receipts of the business on such an operation trust in the advancement of the object general public greater than 20% fail to make responsibility, fail to make the accounts of audit, fail to return of income, then all the condition following shall be consequent to the exemption. Nominally will be available for PVC reduction. The exemption shall be allowed provision that in such expenditure on the corporate loans and borrowings and credit reduction, depreciation respect to the asset of the claiming application. Expenditure is not form of donation any person. Note 40A3 and shall apply in case of reduction. No reduction in case of loss or allowed. Section 115 BBB specific income as of trust for in the case of trust registered under N23C section 11 specific income shall be taxable 30%. No deduction as set off can be allowed with respect to such income. Specified business income units income accumulated greater than 15% such accumulated is not allowed under the specific portion. The income is section 11 applied and the person received other reason or another reason accumulated income is not accepted under 1023B and not excluded the total income of 131B not invested specified notes deemed income section 11 1C in the case where the income is applied benefit or benefit person income which is not excluded from the total income of 11(1)(c) used for purpose of outside India. Section 115 BBC. Anonymous donation in certain cases. Anonymous donation is a voluntary donation. The person receiving the contribution does not maintain records or identify the name and address of the person making the donation. Anonymous donation taxable 30% excess of the higher rate. 5% of total donation received are 1 lakh. One of the amount excess in the above limit is subject to tax. Application of the donation does not confer to tax exemption. Important. Anonymous donation where the exemption is taxable in the normal tax rate. Above provision shall not apply in the case of donation received by trust credited wholly or religious purposes, trust credited wholly or religion charitable purpose, or anonymous donation made in specific directions. Realization total donation 10 lakhs, anonymous donation 4 lakhs, exemption to 5 lakhs or 1 lakh, anonymous donation 30% or 3 lakhs, donation taxable normal rates 1 lakhs, 30%. Tax on income certain trust exit tax on the section 105 AD 105B 105 before we begin section 2 differentiation being required specific person trusts and institutions often 1023 and registered at 28 AB is one specified data conversion and merger of emotion next now we can section 115 DD special provision related to access such an income certain trust and that previous specific person has converted into form of non-eligible registration probably be approved by section 123G merged with other entity other than registered trust have a similar objective fail to transfer all the asset to other specific person within 12 months of the year of merger which is dissolution of place. In this case, a specified person shall be able to additional income tax as the income specified in the MMR 30% plus 12%. 12% surcharge plus 4%, 34.994% assessed income, fair market value total asset on the specific date, total liability on the date minus total liability. The calculation shall be done in the manner of prescribed in Rule 13 CB. Prescribe that any following assets and liability are included and above asset that acquired at a specific portion of its agricultural income, asset acquired by any other person prior to approval of 1023C, registered under 12B, asset transfer or the dissolution of another registered approval trust. The trust shall be deemed to be converted into under section registered as a 12AA, 12AB approved by 1023C shall be specified as the trust has been undertaken modified by the objective which is shall be conformed to condition with the registration and it will not apply. For registration has been applied rejected, it fails to apply re-registration renewal. The final registration is prescribed manner. Exit taxes payable even as specific persons are liable normal taxation to the applicable fund due date the payment of the additional tax scenario within the 14 days. In the case of cancellation registration period to the final applicant 253 against the cancellation or expiry of the appeal appeal is made in order of the appeal made confirmation cancellation modification object does not apply to the final registration failure of registration renewal of final registration end of the previous year. Trust as a modified objective and filed the first registration and applied registration. The period of filing appeal on 253 against rejection order expires and no appeal is filed. Appeal has been made and order of appeal has been confined to rejection. The trust is merged with the entity having a similar objective. Date of merger, trust failed to transfer the assets within the 12 months of dissolution. Date of 12 months expires. Section 115 TE interest on non-payment. Failure to apply the tax sum interest of 1% per month. The period from the date of immediate the last date of payment till the date of actual payment, no credit available in the additional income tax paid and accrued income, no reduction in respect of the allowed in the respect of the total income, new such income. Section 115 TF calculation where the subsidy person is deemed assessee is default, assessee person assesses the person assessed assessee default in case of non-payment of the tax assets. All provision related to recovery of tax shall apply in the case of dissolution. Assets of the trust transfer to non-charitable organization and recipient shall also assess last and default in case of non-payment, liable to limited liability access to non-asset received. Rule 17 CB, method of valuation of assets and liability. Rule 1, for the purpose of assets and income and assets shall be include TDS, TCS, advance tax, unmortgaged amount of deferred expenditure. Rule 2, fair market value of assets shall be determined in the following matter: assets and valuation, unquoted securities, equities or preference, average of the lowest or the higher prices quoted by the registered stock exchange on specified dates. It is no trading on specified dates, considering immediately preceding date, whichever stated. Unquoted equity, A plus B minus L into PV plus PE. A book value of the asset when rather than bullion, jewelry, precious stones, statistics, stores and shares and securities and human property reduced by TDS tax and TDS advance tax, unmortgaged amount of deferred tax. B, fair market value of bullion, jewelry, stones and working jewelry, security TPL, book value of the liability excluded. Contingent liability, other area of dividend of equity, amount part of dividend of the ESE and PSE, reserves other than set up by the depreciation, provision of taxation, provision made by the uncertain liability, amount of accumulated provision preferential shares, PV paid up capital as equity, and PV total amount of PUEC securities other than total income, price of purchased by the sold of open market value specified date on the basis of valuation of a purchased bankers and accountant immovable property, higher of open market value based on the registered person SDP as specified date, business understanding BA plus B plus minus L into rated above other asset, open market value based on the market registered value. Rule 3, calculation of total liability book value of the liability specified the date of execution, capital fund accumulated for corpus accumulated fund corpus fund, resource and surplus, contingent liability, provision of uncertain liability, provision of taxation in the case of cancellation registration passed on the particular date on 31st January, and therefore appeal against such order is made on the appeal and authority dismissed on the 31st March, and the fair market value can be calculated on the date of the cancellation on 31st March or later. Section 13E, specialized provision relating to income of political party, income from the political party exempted, income from house property, income from capital gain, income from sources and voluntary contribution. Such exemption shall be available to the political party, maintain books of account and the documentation would enable assessing officer to properly declare its income, maintain records, name, address, and bonus, a voluntary contribution other than electronic bonds greater than 20,000. Accounts of orders audited by the CA. No accounts greater than 20,000 is considered in other ways in account paychecks or bank draft, EC, other prescribed mode of electronic bond has not failed to submit the report of 29C, the representation of people act on the financial year, further of return of income under section 139 AB or further before due date. BGVP income of the other PP is not exempted. Section 13, special provision related to voluntary contribution received by the electoral bond. The voluntary contribution received by the electoral bond and exempted on the electronic result. A distribution 90%, 95% of aggregate donation the previous year, surplus profit to the register BP, function under the capital goods. Refer to 1089 Modular Stage Code 1D, voluntary contribution exempt to 13B, other archway, house property, BGBP income is acceptable. Procurement of grant approved by the electoral trust. Eligibility for applicant registration in section 8, company having a face of electoral trust in the name, trust in its name and sole objective distributes contribution received by its political party and has a PAN criteria for approval. It's registered under section 8 of the Companies Act. Objective is not to earn profit or pass any benefit in the specific person. 13.3 adequate arrangement is made for recording receipt for the contribution. AO is a company includes stipulation prescribed in the function of for renewal approval. Approval is valid of RAY, which application is made in further 3 assessment year and apply for renewal in the financial year immediately prior to last assessment year in which approval is made. Withdrawal, CBDT and withdrawal of the trust and cease of activities non-genuine. Trust is function of the rule 17C and CBDT may conduct inquiry if CIT DIT satisfy that approval of trust is not fulfilled for any condition. It may offer making appropriate inquiry for the reports of the CBDT taken as action other than the withdrawal approval only after the OVBB plus record is in the copy of order application of AO, CIT, DIT. Business Trust REIT INVIT Section 2 Class 13 Business Trust Major Trust suggested other real estate investment trust and investment trust the exemption right of trust section again income tax income exemption in the hat section 23 FC interest and dividend from special accounts vehicle like in hats of RE and IT exempted section 23 FC rental income from the real estate directly owned exempted section 23 FT distributed income other than the chapter exempted on so business BT capital gains unit holders if the SPV is not opted for 1B dividend from the SPV has opted for 1B dividend from SPV is taxable non exemption. SPV means an Indian company. BT holds a controlling interest not less than 50% of SCSE. Section 115 BAU tax on income of unit holders of business trust. The nature of the proportion of the income hands on the unit holders equal same of hands of the business trust. Exemption amount proper provision shall not apply with respect of the reference to section 56 to class section 11 of IFSA tax rate as the total income of business trust shall be chargeable to 11A, 112, 112A. Section 11A, 112, 112A other income maximum marginal rate distribution income nature of 1 to 10, 23 FC and 1023 FCA deemed to be income of unit holder and taxable under the previous year. However, dividend income shall not be taxable in the hand of unit holder and special purpose vehicles as on a half of 115 BAA. Noted the amount paid by the SST investor deemed credit on the last day of the previous year, same proportion as applicable. There is no such deemed provision on the business trust. Only distribution income is taxable. Statement of the income distributed on BT to the PC and President Commissioner within the jurisdiction of principal office situation by 30th in our assessment year, the unit holder 30 June assessment year. Other section under the business trust section provision 139E mandatory for the business trust to file return of income. 47 16 transfer of shares of the special purpose vehicle to business trust, exchange of unit in business trust, non considered transfer. Section 2 class 42 units of business trust long term units held more than 36 months. 194 dividend by the special purpose of BT not liable for TDS. 194A trust of the special purpose vehicles minus not liable for TDS. 194I rental income of in case of direct owned property not liable for TDS. Section 194 LB TDS on the payment of business trust payers be payee resident non-resident of foreign nature initial nature payee nature TDS payee tax recipient and when initial dividend rent 10% of payee normal tax rate non-resident and foreign contribution interest 5% non-resident foreign dividend 10% and 20% in rental rates on the force section 195 normal rates for foreign section 49(1) the COA of the units on the BT shall be reduced and the sum received on the unit holder of BT shall be which no nature of interest and dividend and rental income which is being chargeable to 56 to lateral as of 115 UA specified sum received from the unit holder as of 56 to 12 the sum received on the unit of the business trust is taxable on income from our sources as per the financial 2023 specified sum cannot be less than 0 A minus B minus C a sum received by the unit holder not income as 10 to 23 FC or 1023 FCA not taxable under 115 UA2 cost of minus cost of acquisition of the unit minus cost of charge of tax under the clause of the earlier year. Consequently, rental income is taxable in the hands of unit holder under the head of PGVP in the income of PGVP income from the REIT refer to 194 LC chapter non-resident transaction. Investment fund section 115 EU income tax on the income of investment fund in the unit holders and the income on the hands of unit holders the investment fund shall be taxable on the hand as in the investment made in the investment fund and are made by the unit holder himself. Carry forward loss where the PGVP in the fund is a loss it's not wholly set off against the income under the head PGVP loss carry forward the investment fund other than PGVP loss carry forward unit holder holding units are less than at least 12 months other unit holders less than ignored loss nature and promotion proportion of unit to the holders and holders will same on the hands of future tax rate of total income of fund, but the fund is a company of firm minus the finance act company 25%, 30% for 30%, other than MMR 42.744% amount unpaid to the fund of unit holder deemed credit the last year previous year the proportion and is taxable on the income of fund or unit holder is independent payment. It is taxed on accrual basis. Know that when such a income is actually paid by the investor, it shall not be again taxed on the total income statement of income distributed by a stakeholder. The principal commissioner within the judicial principal office situated on 15th June assessment year, the investment 30th June assessment year. Section 115 LB TDS in case of investment fund, pay as unit investment funds, pay unit holder. Section income other than PGBP, TDS rate resident of 10%, non-resident FC rates of force 115 when the time of credit of payment which was earlier. Exemption related to investment fund. Section income and fund enhanced 1023 FC any income other than PGBP investment fund. 1023 FBB PGBP income referred to section 115U unit holder. Securitization of trust ST. Section 115 TCA income securitization trust. Any income hold hands in the investor and securitization trust shall be taxable in the hands of the investment made by the securitization trust were made by the investor himself. Nature, proposition of income and head of investor, nature and income and tax of ST, amount unpaid by the ST to investor deemed credit the last day of previous year, the same proportion of entity that is taxable on the income on the ST in the hands of investor in the independent of payment. Therefore, the ST is investor, it's taxable on accrual basis. When the income is actually paid to the investor, it shall not be again added to total income. Statement of the income distributed to ST, the principal commissioner or the commissioner of the judicial official office is situated 30th November to investor 30th June. Section 1023 DA exemption in hands of securitization tax. Any income securitization tax on the activity securitization exempted in the hands of ST. Section 194 LBC exemption in hands of securitization tax. Director securitization tax. Director resident and non-resident rate resident individual achieve 25%, other resident 30%, non-resident foreign company rates in force when the time of credit of payment which was earlier. Option 197 avail the lower reduction or lower taxes. Section 11 tax planning, tax avoidance, tax evasion. Concept of tax planning. And the harmonization of one of the financial affairs, the full advantages of tax exemption, reduction, rebates, allowance, and other benefits are permitted by the Act without a violation of legal provision. So the burden of the taxes also reduced minimum by planning shall be natural one which are not appears in the artificial arrangement. Illustration, instruction of tax planning. Various resident status concept of number of days of stay in India for the individual choosing suitable form of assessment, individual form, achieve form, cooperative society, AOP, company, etc. Exercising the option of shift out and the default regime 115 BAB paying tax in the normal regime, exercising the option of tax in the concessional rate of 115 BAA. BAB in case of companies choosing suitable form of investment avail reduction under ATC. The program sale of capital asset depends upon the period of holding and reduction specifically available assets held by long term. Diversification the business activities, wholesale industry, agro-based industry, consider specific previous profit linked and investment linked based profit. Use of the concept of commercial expenditure in the claim reduction expenses computed of PGBP lost tax harvesters. Method reduce tax planning, avoiding tax exemption and tax privileges offered by the companies restricted as per the law. Tax evasion whenever involves element of deceit, misrepresentation of facts, falsification, accounting, calculation, and downright of fraud as attempt to avoid payment of taxes on the illegal means. Tax avoidance aids and levers. Whereas a wide range of options between the tax planning and tax evasion, it is a middle ground. People choose a method that technically meets the legal requirement but actually find a way of the lower eliminate the tax burden. This involves exploiting of law advantages of against the intention spread, reading of the income section 19 acts of avoidance, the misrepresentation, failure to record investment and false expenditure, etc. Judgment of McDowell's company and promotional tax officer. The Supreme Court held the evil consequences of tax avoidance. The substantial loss has been needed public revenue. Serious disturbances of the economy to the pile of the mountain of black money causing inflation. The large hidden loss to community sources the best brains of countries involved in partial litigation. Sense of injustice and inequality the minds who are unwilling to unable to profit from it. Unethical practice of transfer of burden of tax liability to shareholders of kindness and new good citizens and those of artful talkers. And further, tax law should be interpreted more not by the literally alignment, the royalty in transactions, the assessment of transaction deemed to be intended to avoid tax and laws. It is not the legislation tool alone and address of every tax or avoidance scheme. Instead, court must identify the new assess new tax avoidance strategies and refuse to legitimate them. Legitimate tax planning acceptance only if the adherence of the land legal framework using the questionable method and evade the tax and not honorable citizens are obligated to pay tax honestly. Doctrine of forms of substances. One of the reasons from the taxpayer to resolve the tax planning existence of the doctrine of forms and substances. The how far the court may stretch the wandering of statutes and cover the particular set of factors. This is the fact of clear being created a tax-based order to avoid minimum tax on the literal interpretation of statute as the first sight of after over time. There's a question where the forms of transaction can be ignored now. In, understanding the real structure. Principle included by the courts with respect of doctrine. When the transaction is arranged in one form, it will attract the tax liability where it entered in another form equally lawful may be taxable, consider form or substance. This rule applies only in the genuine transactions, EIT, motor, government. You know, determine genuineness will open to the authorities appears commercial review and look into behind the legal framework of the reality of transaction. The interpretation of document of transaction time shouldn't be limited with the formal technical aspect, the formal manner. Legal should be very emphasized. The judgment of Supreme Court clearly shows the preferential of the substance over form on the doctrine substances of this case warrant of references. Doctrine of precedence. Decision of will precedence of the decision. Supreme Court, large Supreme Court, all the courts, tribunal authorities, large bench of Supreme Court, smaller bench of Supreme Court, the larger point of time in some strength, Supreme Court, the entirely point in time. So High Court decisions, even single kind judges court, all the low authority, CIT, JC, tribunal within judicial High Court, full bench of High Court, divisional bench and single judges of same court, division bench of the High Court, single judge of same High Court, RD and appeal tribunal, full bench of tribunal, alternate tribunal, OEO, CIT and CIT. Anti-specific anti-avoidance rules SAR. SAR provide that one known avoidance schemes follow section SAR. Section provision 40A1 and 40A1A. And that with the allowance of the expenses and non-reduction to TDS. 40A2 accession and untraceable payments of either parties. 92 to 92F TP regulations. Transfer pricing regulation. 93 tax avoidance and transfer of income to non-resident. 94 acceptance of tax to certain transaction securities. 2002 in 19 income award and dividend and bonus stripping. Section 94(7) dividend of income stripping transaction. If a person buys a security unit within the period of 3 months prior to the recorded date and sells the transfer security within 3 months on the unit, so 9 months on the after the date, and if the dividend of income was on the security or a unit of reserves is percent exempted. When ignored loss, such an extent exempted incomes compute on the total income. The concept of irrelevant and dividend income from the unit of mutual funds and UT is now taxable. In the case of the business, the dividend is exempted on the unit holder. In the special purpose equipment tax under 105 PAA. These sections may apply. Section 94(8) bonus stripping transaction. A person buy a shares in the period of 3 months prior to the record date. Such a person allotted bonus shares in the unit without payment. Such bonus each person sells any of the original shares within 9 months of the of date. He continue to hold any of the bonus securities. And loss on sale of original security hold shall be ignored. The amount of the loss or ignored will be deemed to be the cost of acquisition on the bonus security and the unit of the held date of a sale transaction. Section 95 general anti-avoidance rule. Understand without the anything contained in the act of DTA arrangement to be cleared impossible avoidance agreement IA provided by apply of 1st April 2018. As per the section 101, the word arrangement means step 1 part of the transaction generated in accordance with the including the alternative property of transaction. Example of alternating for example in correction. ABC Limited set up the unit of a Caesar on the financial year 1818 manufacture and claim 100% reduction of profit from the unit of financial year upwards and then they are applicable in this tax mitigation non-avoidance. Then ABC Limited utilizes the facial incentive by the complying of legislation and complaints. It's established in the unit of SEC. GAR is not applicable in the case of legitimate use of tax benefits. ABC Limited as another unit of non-SEZ area and diverse the production of SEZ unit while only packing of SEZ unit. This involves the misrepresentation of fact, which is tax evasion, this is unlawful, and addressing and the establishment of correct facts will be open car. ABC Limited is transfer of the products of non-ABC Limited to SEZ unit and price below market price, showing the higher profit in the SEZ unit and the higher tax rate. In the tax evasion addressed by the 10A9 and Section 81A, the transaction greater than 20 crores, it is addressing the domestic TV transaction. Section 92BA, car is not necessary in short provision apply. Incorporation of the independent unit SEZA and non-SEZB shift a new export order of unit A, reducing the unit B profit, shifting the reconstruction business of tax benefit, addressing Section 10A. Hence, there is a need of invoke of GA and SAR taxes. Section 96 impersonate of apparent agreement. IA means arrangement. Main purpose. One of the main purposes to obtain tax benefit and one of the following tax benefit. Create a right and obligation that is not ordinarily created between the person dealing with the ALP. Result of the direct indirectly the murder, misuse and abuse of provision section 8. A lack of commercial substance are deemed to be a lack of commercial substance 97 whole apart. It's carried out with the manner in which not ordinarily employed under the bone of idea. Tax benefit under the division of section 10.1 or 2 Act. Reduction or avoidance of the tax, increase in the refund, reduction in the total income, or increase in loss, or tax avoidance or reduction due to the tax treaty. Example of misuse or abuse of the provision of the Act or tax treaties. Under the tax treaty between India and country A4, capital gain from the selling shares of in the Indian company is taxable only in F4 unless the F4 residents transfer over 10% of the Indigo. In F4 residents invest in Indigo to the two subsidiaries for 95.5% Indigo. Totally, these companies are tax exempted in the Indigo section. The interpretation. The investment strategy seems designed to gain tax benefit under the treaty. Nagging commercial substance as it not alter the A-level's economic position. It appears to abuse the tax law. Hence, the car can be invoked and denying the tax benefit and potential treating substantial single entry tax. So 97 agree in lacks commercial substance. Certain arrangement to be deemed the lack of commercial substance at substance or effect of arrangement as whole. Significant inconsistency difference from the forms of individual steps and apart. If an classification of substance of the forms of doctrine, tax consequence of particular arrangement should be assessed and based on the substantial form of tax preparation. Involving include round-tripping financing. A round-tripping financing is an arrangement which includes series of transactions. The fund is for transfer among the parties to arrangement. Such a transaction has no commercial purpose other than obtaining tax benefit without having a regard. However, the funds involved the trace to other party in arrangement. The time and essential of funds involved in the transferring and received. The means and manner and record more these funds are transferred received on accumulated party. A party which is included in the arrangement mainly obtaining tax benefit, and it's not necessary that such party is connected to taxpayer. The element that has been affected in offsetting, cancelling operation. Transaction conducted through one or more persons and discussed in the values, location, and store ownership and controls of funds. Involving location as such a transaction based on the residential of any property without any substantial commercial purpose of any other obtained tax benefit. Does not have significant effect upon the business or the net asset flow or any party arrangement of the effect of tax benefit. Section 97(4) says the following factors to consider. Relevant is not efficient. Determine whether the arrangement lacks commercial substance or not. Period of which arrange excess. Facts of payment of tax under the arrangement. Facts of exit route in the provisional arrangement. Example 11 to ICA model. Section 98 consequence of imprisonment of avoidance agreement. Basic consequences. Denial of tax benefits. Certain illustration and consequences will be evident. Disregarding, combining, or recharacterizing any step part of the arrangement. Treating of arrangement, if any, that does not had not been entered into the carrier. Disregarding the accommodated party and treating of accommodated party and any other party one of the same person. Deeming connection which is related to the one or more same person. Reallotting among the parties at reciprocal expenditure. Treating the place of residence and a part of status and assets, a place where there has been place or residential location or such a transaction. Considering the looking into the arrangement and disregarding the corporate structures, it has been provided that if any of the equity has been treated as a debt or vice versa, the accrual receipt or capital nature has been treated as a revenue receipt and vice versa, and the expenditure reduction, relief or rebate as a recalculation. Section 19 treatment of connected person and accommodated party. Determine of the benefit access the parties or connected parties. Each other as a treated as the same person. And accommodated party can be discarded. The accommodated party as another party is treated as a one or more person. Arrangement may be considered looking through the discrimination disregarding a corporate structure. The connected person is a person who is connected directly, indirectly one person. Individual, relative, company, director, related company, firms, AOB, BOY, partners, members, or relative, therefore, actually members of relative, other relative, other 100%. An individual who is in substantial interest in national surplus relative. Companies, firms, achieve AOB, BOY, other substantial interest, directors, partners, members, relatives. Companies, firms, AOB, BOY, other directors, partners, and members of substantial interest in relative. Rule 10U non-applicability of GAR. And the provision of the GAR shall not apply in the case of following is arrangement of the aggregate of tax benefit relation to assessment year and all the parties is less than 3 crores. The FIA is an assessment year. The act shall not benefit to TTA and they invested in the securities and prior permission the complete of the authority of SEBI. Investment made by the NR in the offshore development of this FIA. Income accrued and received on the person and transferred an investment induction one of what whether a part of an arrangement is declared under 1 IE, consequence of the relation to the tax shall be determined on the respective reference to the party, not on the whole arrangement. AO shall before making the reference to CIA 144B not using writing as a seeking objective to any of the applicable provision of GAR cases. Classifying certain queries of implementation of GAR, CBA circular, questions and answers. When GAR invokes are application, GARs are coexistent. They are applicable necessary based on the facts and circumstances of the case. And the GAR applies to the denied treaty eligibility where LOP test of satisfied. GAR has not been invoked in the case of evidence of sufficient address LOP treaty. The GAR interplay the right of the taxpayer to select the choose method and implementation. No. When the GAR provision apply when the jurisdiction is finalized and based on the non-tax commercial purposes, the GAR will be invoked merely because of the entities located in the tax efficient jurisdiction. The main objective is not to obtain tax credit. GAR will apply. The GAR provision is a non-bonus shares. A bonus shares complaints with the spirit of 1st April 2020. Share bought with existence of 1st April 2070 based on the share acquired by the 1st April 2020. For the grandfathering clause does not investing in all forms. Less the contract, less agreement is not investment in the purpose of grandfathering. When the GR invokes arrangement or sanction of the court of law, no GR cannot invoke the court as consideration tax implication. The fund claim of a treaty benefit to 1 year option governor act and another year can attack GR. GR provisions apply. This admission of the claim is admission under the treaty of domestic laws in different year. It's not a matter of addiction decided through GR. How it's ensured the GR is invoked only in the rare case the deal is highly aggressive scheme. GR is proposed to be vetted by the principal commissioner first and then approved panel headed to the judge of the High Court and ensure invoking under the desired cases. When the GAR lead to assessment of notional income and disallowance of real estate covered under 96 arrangement will be discarded in application of GAR and necessary consequential allow. Timeline of existence for the GAR is now applied. The period of existence of relying to the non-sufficient section 97 for determine the arrangement of lakh commercial substances earning uniform fair rational application of GAR consequence safeguard ensure uniform fair rational invoking GAR representing of fair tax adjustment across different taxpayers also made tax benefit of 3 crores calculations made on the taxpayers and each arrangement tax benefit calculation judicial specific and assessment year this arrangement explores it's not limited to single taxpayer. This is contradict with this subsequent year arrangement. This permissible earlier arrangement has been the permission 1 year and fact remains the same. GAR cannot be invoked subsequent year. No penalty percentage and additional more than GAR financial. No such blanket explanation exception. The penalties available in law and necessary may apply for the strive for profession no perfection. And taxation of digital transaction introduction to this chapter talks about we are following topics e-commerce business equalization level transaction virtual listed transaction classification of e-commerce based parties involved B2B B2C C2C G2C and G2C Indian OLX platforms and commerce the e-commerce model business model online platforms e-commerce model the market based on model is e-commerce connected of a facilitator between buyers as well as the inventory based model is e-commerce inventory is allowed by the e-commerce entities sold directly. The subscription of e-commerce business model either by a digital goods or a service, or taxable or tangible goods. Example: Netflix, Spotify, Snackable, Big Basket, Man Goods. Online, offline e-commerce business model. Sellings, cotton, Nokia. And tax challenges respect of the digitalization. New business models are curated will created following tax writers and difficulties. Difficulty is in categorizing them a network of a payment and difficulty in cam and location of transaction and identifying taxpayer purposes. OECD recommend model and action plan 1 BEC transaction due to the tax challenges arising from digitalization. G20 OECD and BEC of the action plan committee as per the section 15 action plan 1 identifying the number of border tax challenges arising from digitalization notable relation to in excess and data categorization. The action plan analyzing the following three steps: in excess plan rule for significant economic percentages and determine the NR tools and withhold of tax and digital transaction. Equalization levy of Google tax. Chapter 8 AFA 2016, Section 161, Chapter Charge of Equalization Levy Specific Factors. Equalization levy checks of the considered received by NR and specific service provided by the PRA carried B2B, NRA having P in India. Equalization leave shall be charged where the NR provided service P in India as a service effective connection with such PE. Aggregated amount of consideration into NR is less than 1 lakh or the and whether the payment is not being business profit such PRE, NE and making payments. Online payments, online advertisement, provision of digital advertisement space and other facilities on online advertisement, any other notified service. Online means the facility services are a right a benefit access that is obtained through the internet or any other form of digital or any communication network. Section 161A change or liquidation levy e-commerce supply services added FE 2022. With respect of the Fund for 2022 equalization levy, 2% consider received by the e-commerce operator and such e-commerce supply service provided to it. PRE and NRE are non-resident specified in the specified. Specific consideration means sale of advertisement who direct the customer who PRE point out into a customer who access the advertisement to IP address located in India. Sale of data and character from the PRI or person who uses IP address. The person who buys his goods and services is called in an IP address located in India. Equalization levy under section not being charged due to such ecosystems in the APA permanent establishment in India. Such supply of effective connection of such a permanent establishment. Levy and leviable section 165. Sales and turnover cross receipt of eco is applied to 2 crores less than 2 crores or recreation. Consideration receipt was receivable. Shall include and exclude consideration of sale of goods where are not ecosystems or owner, therefore exclude the consideration of sale of goods owned by the PRE of NRH goods affected by the connection of PE. Consideration of service whether or not ecosystem service provider. Consideration service of PRE, PE or field service is effective connection of PE. Consideration received or received by the specific services or e-commerce or supply of service whether or not include consideration when acceptable under the royalty of FDS. Sorry. The FRE means in NRE who holds, operate and massage manages a digital and electronic facility and performs some online sales and goods and online product services. Section 166 collection and recovery of equalization levy of specified services. Levy deduction on section 165 during the calendar year. Pay credit of again 7th of every month. Failure to deduct levy, such association shall be liable to pay levy and capital gains ignore the failure. A rounded of the amount of consideration levy or interest levy interest payable penalty refund rounded off the nearest multiple of 10. Section 166 selection recovery of equalization levy in income supply services. Section 165 shall be paid on the e-commerce operator quarterly of every month and there's quarterly levy on the 30th September, 7th July, 19th September, 7th October, 31st December, 7th October, 31st March and the rounding of provision same as 166 and the section 166 service recipient responsible for the deduction payment of the levy but 66 EA system is responsible. In respect of the 167 furniture statement, a statement form number 1 retail specific services and e-commerce supply services are chargeable to each levy on financial year due date on the 31st on the morning before 31st June immediately following financial year verification electronic from DSC to the electronic verification code verification statement anytime before the expiry of 2 years on the financial year notified assessing when the assessee of e-com failed to furnish a statement the assessing officer saves a notice to furnish the same and such as says furnish 30 days on the notice failure to furnish statement 100 days per transfer failure continues. 168 proceeding and section 167. So a statement of 167 shall be processed in the following manner. Levy shall be computed after making adjustment of arithmetical error. If the interest is also interest, it shall be computed some payable or refundable and the assessing officer determining of the adjustment of the above pay amount and interest paid and tax payable. Intimation shall be prepared and sent as specified some payable and refund due amount. No intimation shall be sent to above after 1 year. Before one enter 1 year shall be enter a statement in furnishing. Such a intimation shall be deemed to the notice notice of demand. Amount refund shall be granted to like where any levy or interest penalties payable due in the order passed. EO shall serve and demand notice from the section 1 or 2 and specified some so payable. Section 1 section rectification of mistake. In the view of the rectification mistake apparent on the record of EO, amendment of intimation 168 within 1 year from the end of financial year which intimation is issued. Assessment officer is amended either sudo moto or mistake brought as a notice by the assessing of ECOMO. Any amendment to the effect of increasing liability of the assessing officer comes reduce a refund. AO is given no notice of intimation to the assessment officer. Income officer reasonable authorization. Under section 170, interest on delay of payment of levy as per the ecosystem failed to pay the levy in under section 166 168 simple interest of 1% every month of but of delay. 171 penalty failure of reduction of pay and levy failure to reduction. 166 pay say such a levy interest of many penalties equal to amount levy will to interact failure to pay on 167 pay such a levy interest on any other penalty amount of levy to pay under the reduction failure to pay and again pay under the levy interest on any penalty 1000 per day from the date of failure continues. 173 penalty imposed on 171 172 penalty in the assessing officer ecom proves the satisfaction as a reasonable clause for the failure levy penalty and reasonable OBBH section 174 75 applicable section 174 appeal CIT 174 appeal to who may be appeal assessing of the ecom assessing e-commerce industry against EO against CIT time limit 30 days on the EO 60 days set of the order fee 1005 fees not to CIT form 3 form 4 verify electronic to DAC VECV prescribed manner section 176 punishable false statement if a person makes a false statement is a verification of the chapter delivers a statement which is false which is known and believed to be false and untrue punishment jail up to 3 years or fine such offense is deemed to be non-cognizable. Section 177 prosecution prior sanction of CCI required to be institution prosecution on section 176 other relevant sections of the equalization levy section 911 discussion later and the non-resident tax section 10 to 52 exemption hands of SAPN income arising from the specified service of e-commerce surprise as a service chargeable to equalization levy exempt from tax in case of non-resident. Section 40A1B disallowance of expenditure considering the paid of a non-resident specific services with equalization levy deducted and such levy has to be paid not been deducted after deduction not paid before the due date disallowed. The disallowance is attracted only in the case of specified services not in the case of e-commerce. Section 194O TDS and payment of e-commerce participant sale of goods or provision of service of e-commerce participants facilitated by the e-commerce industry. The e-commerce shall deduct 1% of the gross amount for such sales and services at the time of credit payment which was earlier non-applicability in the case of aggregate sum collected to e-commerce participant individually achieve less than 5 lakhs as e-commerce furniture other e-com summary of equalization levy 165 168 161 section 194 nature equalization levy equalization TDS chargeable on the consideration received by the non-resident on consider 166 on consideration received by the non-resident e-com industry on goods and service by the e-com but sold via e-com industry rate 6 percentage 165 6 percentage 168 2 percentage section 194 1% percentage PRA non-resident having any permanent establishment for carrying business, e-commerce industry, consumer industry, nature of income, advertising services, advertising sales and advertisement services. So 194 was sale of goods, promotion services, taxation of virtual digital asset. Meaning of virtual digital asset section 2 class 4 2 class 47A means any information or code and number of token generated through cryptographic means or a digital representation value exchange with the promotion having inherent value or a function of store value, including use of financial transaction investment, and can be transferred or stored and traded electronically. Non-fungible tokens or other tokens similar nature excluding NFT, which is further result of transfer of ownership of underlying tangible asset just transferred to illegal enforcement. Other tangible asset has been notified by certain government. Central government as a notification exclude the following definition in visual digital asset and gift card, voucher number, Amazon card and BMS voucher, mileage point, reward point, daily warranty point, obtain goods and service discount, subscription website to the platform application. Section 115 BBH taxability of the transfer of VDA, such as income was 30%, no reduction, respective reduction, prospective set of loss allowed, no set of loss of VDA against income assessors, no care for loss allowed, benefit of below exception is not available in the case of taxation of VDA, and such as winning and income transfer under section 27, such as pays VDA respective of whether capital assets or not. Section 56 to taxability of receipt of VDA and gift in article consideration, property of 56 to X and VDA, taxability receipt of VDA with the in it received VDA, taxability in hands of received without consideration. FME the date of received in the excess of 50,000 in article consideration, difference of FME minus consideration in excess of 50,000. Exclusion 56 class 2 apply in the case of gift and VDA, relative, etc. Section 194 tax on the paid on the transfer of VDA, pay as person responsible for payment, pay resident, income consideration VDA rate 1% when at the time of declaration of the payment, whichever is earlier, cash or kind, the consideration wholly partly kind, partly in cash, whichever sufficient, pay as ensure the tax paid in the payee before the release of consideration, non-applicability where consideration is payable by the buyer, threshold limit, specific person having individual having turnover of previous year less than 1 crore out of 50 lakhs, threshold 50,000, specific person 1 crore not having BGP income, another person less than 10,000, TAN providing the provision upon TAN is not applicable in the case of specific person, non-filters provision of higher TDS transaction non-filter of 2106B not applicable in the specific person. 194 years, 24 years, 194 years shall be overridden, 194 years, 194Q. Once the tax is deducted, 194 years, 194 is not applicable. CBD circular in the case of the transfer of a virtual transfer to exchanges beyond C, the buyer may pay payment to exchange and pay the seller. These require to deduct TDS. Exchange will deduct TDS when making the payment to seller. When exchange makes a payment to broker, in the case of who will when the broker is to broker to seller, exchange payment on broker. When the broker is not a seller, exchange broker both are responsible for based on the return agreement. The exchange is owner of a VDA, buyers require to deduct TDS. GST exclude GST component, the component on the TDS. Payment gateway is not required to deduct TDS and deduct of a year. TDS compliance for due date of payment, specific person 30 days on the OE exchange, and TDS statement 200 for 26 QE for 30 days on the EU and 24 QEF on reduction. From E is given from 24Q, 34 July, 31st October in the region, and 16 of the 15 days. Any other person 7th of the next month. It is not about the perfect, it's about the effort and which is bringing the effect of every safety that is transforming happens. So this is what change occurs.